Cause it's time to move on now. It's time for murder blues.
That was my new clap. I
see
gave you the clap from my mouth.
She gave me the clap.
I almost said giggity, but that's actually not.
I was gonna say, can you're not supposed to have clap in your mouth. I mean, that's not how it works. I mean, maybe it does, but
she gets down, bro.
I mean, I whatever kid wants to do sexually, she can do as long as she's not hurting anyone.
Free world. She's a grown ass
Right.
person. Kind
Exactly.
of look really little.
I'm a grown ass person. I'm an ass person. I'm an ass guy.
She's got an
We
ass.
established before we started recording that clearly you're not.
I'm an ass man. Yeah, I'm an ass man. We are Murder Moose, a part of the Slash and Cast podcast network.
It's in the game.
Anakin's ass.
And it's in my ass.
And Ken is very adamant that you don't go ass to mouth. She hasn't learned anything. She hasn't learned anything from Clerks 2. Hasn't learned anything from Clerks 2.
That's why.
In the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No.
Ahsoka told you that if occasionally it's okay to go ass to mouth, Ken.
Right, she did.
I say no.
No.
I bid you good day.
Generation taking their sex advice from a Star Wars character.
You know what? As long as if you're not doing something in the heat of being horny, and then like nutting and going, maybe I should have done that. Are you really living? Are you really living if you're not regretting what you did?
Yeah, if you don't walk away from your sexual experiences feeling at least a small amount of shame, I think you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. And I'm not saying you have to do it all the time,
because
but
God knows, you make that drive home or the walk to the living room, whatever the fuck the situation may be. And if you don't just say one time, it's like, ooh, I don't know about that. Like, ooh, I hope they talk to me tomorrow.
If you're not going, man, I'm really low on peanut butter now, and I don't know what I'm going to do this week. I don't know if I'm going to have any peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And now my dog just won't stop chewing, and I just don't know what's that. I don't know.
So maybe there is a way to go too far.
Maybe. I don't know, man. We're here. We are Murder Moose, and like I said, we're part of the Slash and Cast podcast network. And what the fuck are you guys? Brian got married this weekend. No, he didn't get married.
Congratulations on the nuptials.
Yes, my daughter got married this weekend.
Oh, I didn't think that was legal anymore.
Brian married his daughter.
Get married?
No, Brian marrying his daughter.
Well, as you guys clearly like to point out, my daughter is actually 87 years old now.
I mean, you're a Highlander, Brian. That's okay. That's okay.
There could only be one.
There could only be one. I've seen one of those car things on Twitter or something like that, where it's a family, but it's a Highlander, and it's one guy with a head, and a bunch of the stick figures have no heads, and it's there could only be one. So yes, that's the thing. How the fuck are you guys? Ken, Brian, how are you? Ken, I want to know, how is the world of Rim Job, the game that you've been playing on Twitch the last few days?
Oh, I've been rim jobbing the fuck out of those towns. Listen, RimWorld is awesome. I tried to play it a long time ago when I was, I'm going to say this, whenever I was uppity and thought that backseating was not acceptable behavior. Yep. Dude, backseating's the tits, man. Let people backseat. Just don't let them story. If they become dickish, just be like, fuck off. But since allowing people to backseat, it has completely changed games for me. And I am having so much fun. To the point today where I was stuff is actually going really well. Maybe it's time to start a new play that's a little bit harder. But then, I'm on Randy settings, so my life got fucked immediately thereafter. But
what does the horny setting mean? What does the horny setting mean?
No, Randy's.
Randy means horny. Ken.
Oh, well, Randy.
I learned that from Austin Powers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, exactly.
I didn't.
Yeah. Also, Ken, but I have to say, you're your adventures with Stripes in harness training, I was laughing at them on Twitter because Ken has a small like gravitational pull cat that is very much like a very large and in charge cat, and Ken has been training it to use the a harness, and it seems like
It's not going well.
he just. I mean, it doesn't seem like Stripes is very good at like doing anything besides eating and pooping, and those are like his superpowers. So
He's getting better. He started chasing one of the cats throughout the house, and he doesn't eat all day anymore, so he actually moves around some. But I need him to get harness trained so he can go outside. So today is day 3, but yesterday when I was trying to get him to wear it, he got flipped over on his back. And I was like, come on, dude, like, let's flip back over. I'd get him up and he would just flip over like cats do. But instead of normal cats that like lay on their side, this motherfucker's laid all the way back with paws up in the air. Looks like he's going to die. So I'm giving him treats because I'm trying to give him positive reinforcement.
your cat Stripes looks like like Bender on Futurama when he gets stuck on his back. Like he can't get up because he's so morbidly obese that he's just like, I can't move, and this is how we end. And Stripes.
He's getting a little better. He's lost a little bit, and the problem is that the one cat here, like, I hate that he chases them because like everybody chases that cat, that poor cat. Like, I don't know why, but everybody chases that cat. And I'm like, no, you need to be nice. But the other part of me is like, yes, get some exercise, you fat fuck. Like, come on.
I mean, like that cat weighs about the same size, like amount as Gizmo, and Gizmo is just like.
And Stripes is 26, 27 pounds.
Yeah, Gizmo's about 30, so yeah, that's
holy shit.
Yeah,
that is a big cat.
Yeah,
my pit bull weighs like almost 40.
That is tiny though, because Zelda's
he's not a super big dog, no.
Zelda's a small poodle, and the last time I weighed her, she was like 47 pounds, and she's got to go get shaved again next weekend. That fucking dog, man. I took her to the.
Well, after that, she'll only weigh like 27 pounds.
Probably.
Yeah, Zelda thinks that she's only like 10 pounds. That's all she wants to play with is doggies that size.
I took her to the dog park again on Saturday, and she's just like, nope, I'm not interested in other dogs. I'm just gonna wander around and like be a little bitch. And I end up playing with the other dogs because all the other dogs want to play with me. And I'm like, fuck Zelda, I brought you here to play with the dogs, not to like this bullshit. Goddamn poodle. And then she wants me to chase her around the living room. I'm like, I take you to the dog park and you don't want to do shit. And now you want me to chase you around the living room, you bitch. Fucking poodle.
She just wants all of your love.
I know she does. And yeah, she's a pain. I was going to ask you guys, have you been watching anything cool? I know Brian probably hasn't because he's been on his adventures with his wedding.
For the weekend. I did watch the wrestling pay-per-view, the WWE Backlash. I didn't watch the AEW one though.
Dude,
or not the Backlash. I watched the King and Queen of the Ring.
I canceled my cable last year and I've not watched any wrestling since. So it's been 6 months plus. And I saw that like Ed showed up as like the Brood and like Gangrel showed up at whatever
Gangrel
the
showed up, I guess, at Dynamite, or whatever the fuck that
Double or Nothing or whatever it was.
Double or Nothing, yeah. I didn't watch that. Like I said, I don't even really watch AEW that much anymore. I try to pay attention to what's going on, but I watch WWE.
And I haven't watched anything, man. I'm just like I watch things around. Like I watch Royal Rumble and I watch like WrestleMania, and that's about all.
Yeah, well, honestly, like I got a big group of buddies and friends and whatnot that we all watch a lot of those together, but we only watch like the 4 main ones. Like we watch Royal Rumble, we watch Money in the Bank, we watch SummerSlam, and we watch WrestleMania.
Dude.
And then every once in a great while, we might like, fuck it, let's get together, let's watch Backlash or something. One of the smaller ones, but
I saw SummerSlam is 2 nights next year.
yeah,
and
SummerSlam's 2 nights.
You need to stop
staple ones.
I know,
Yeah,
but you need to stop that shit.
Are going to be 2 nights from now on, which
dude.
That
That
sucks.
and they're gonna end up putting fucking WrestleMania in the next couple of years in fucking Saudi Arabia, and I'm just like,
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me. Mania will probably. I think Mania. If Mania goes overseas, the first place they'll probably hit is Wembley. They'll probably do it at Wembley Stadium
maybe. Yeah,
because that place holds like 90,000 people.
yeah, I know, because
Like, that's awesome.
AW had a lot of people at their thing for it.
Yeah, they got a little over 70,000 people there, like 75 or something.
Yeah, Ken, what have you been watching?
I finished season 5 of Game of Thrones.
God.
So yeah,
How many seasons are there?
So-
8?
I
Is it
think
8?
there's 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Too
just
many.
started it a few weeks ago. So I finally saw the Shame episode and for the
Shame.
watch. So
So now you can meme and gif the shame.
and now I understand it.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
fair.
know what she's talking about.
It's there's a scene where the
Hey, you know what? I just said that. You don't need to explain anything.
I'm just let me explain it.
Not gonna lie.
The chick is bad, and so they strip her naked and make her walk down the street and shake a bell at her. That's all I'm saying. The chick from Judge or Dredd and whatever else she's been in. She was Sarah Connor on the Terminator. Sarah
On the
Connor
TV show.
Chronicles. Yeah, on
Yeah.
the TV show. Yeah.
That was a good show.
And then they
Yeah.
fucking dropped it in the fucking future, and it
That
was
sounds like Fox.
Yep. Back when it was just Fox.
Firefly,
Yeah.
Almost Human.
All those things,
There's a
man.
lot of really
the
good shows.
Exorcist show was really good. I don't remember if that was on Fox or not.
I
but
think that was
such a
on-
good show.
That was on AMC.
Yeah,
Dude,
I can't remember what that was on.
I've been struggling to finish this last season of Hannibal. Like, holy shit! I'm just like,
yeah,
this
the
is-
last season I couldn't get through.
dude. I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
sitting
what
there-
you
did
guys are
not
saying.
finish it.
It's not very good, is it?
It's
Mm-mm.
dude. It is the point where one the whole third season. Every character besides Hannibal should be dead because at the end of the second season, everyone had been stabbed or thrown out a window, and then it's just like the guy who ate his own face, paying everyone to try to get Hannibal, and I'm just like, this is not good. But yeah, I watched Boy Kills World as
Yeah.
I'm gonna
And-
watch that today or tomorrow for sure.
and one of the goofiest movies I've ever seen because it's what's his name? What's Skarsgård? Is it Bill Skarsgård?
Bill.
Yeah, it's Bill.
But he doesn't talk the whole movie, and
Yeah,
the
But it's
narration.
Archer.
Yeah, exactly. It's the narration is Bob from Bob's
Yes.
Burgers, and you're just sitting there going, "What the fuck is
Does
happening?"
he at
And-
least once say, "This is how you get ants"?
No,
you want
he-
ants because this is how you get
he
ants.
doesn't.
This is how you get ants.
Or
but-
phrasing, like is
but then-
phrasing not a thing anymore?
No,
Mm.
and then there's this part where you realize that the one character is
Don't act.
I'm not ruining plot. Is
Are you?
the chick from Happy Death Day, and I'm just like, what is even happening? Is Bob, and it's just
That's
weird.
Jessica Roth, right?
Yeah, whatever her
'Cause I
name
love
is.
her.
Yeah, and then
she's wonderful.
and the another character in the movie is the guy from the Raid, like the Raid movies, who like beats up everyone in those movies. If you've ever seen,
I've never
the Raid.
seen any of those. When you say Raid, I genuinely think of that orc guy from the fucking video game.
No. Go watch the Raid because it's fucking amazing.
That's what I
Raid.
heard.
It's very, 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 very good. It's like the Dread movie, but like with kung fu or whatever, karate and shit. But like, it's a really great movie.
Okay.
And so the movie is really weird, and I enjoyed it, but it's really fucking weird. Like, there's like a scene that just involves macaroons, and like all I can say is that movie is like if you took John Wick and you mixed it with Hunger Games, and then put Bob's Burgers on top of it, is really what Boy Kills World is, and it just
See, you sold the fuck out of it just now to me.
Yep.
Like those
I-
are all things that I could get down with.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it's weird as fuck. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
The kung fu is pretty good, and Skarsgård is very, very. God damn, that motherfucker is cut in that movie. I'm just like,
Yeah, he looks great in the trailer. Like, he
He's
looks
hot as
fucking-
fuck.
Yeah, he
yes,
does. He looks
yes.
sexy as fuck.
yes. It was very good.
I forgot I did watch a movie. I watched
You
The
watched-
Strangers Chapter 1.
Oh, how
I-
was it? I've
I
heard,
heard-
mixed reviews.
I heard very bad things, is what I heard.
It's not very good.
Yeah,
Um,
I've heard
it's-
pretty.
The most incredibly aggressively average slasher I've ever seen. And it's because they do nothing to make it their own, to stand on its own at all. That being said, I've seen worse movies for sure, but it's just it doesn't have its own legs. It doesn't have its own reason to exist. It pretty much follows every beat that the first one established.
But worse is what I heard.
And but yeah, since it's there's no ingenuity there. I mean, I cannot stand the main guy that plays in it. The girl from Riverdale, she's good in it, and she's super pretty too. By the way,
Yeah.
I think she's so pretty. But it's just very average, like aggressively average. I would probably say it is just as good and bad as The Exorcist Believer is, if that makes any sense.
I don't
Because like
remember
The
watching
Exorcist
Believer.
Believer was like it was just a very
It was
average exorcism
No,
movie.
it was just the most forgettable movie I
Yeah,
think I've
ex-
ever watched.
there you go.
It-
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
forgettable, which
It didn't do anything new, you know.
which
It didn't
is-
have any real reason to exist.
dude, which is the
Oh.
like it's right after being boring, forgettable is right there. Like boring is the number one sin of a film can like commit.
Yeah,
being
absolutely.
boring.
I agree. Yeah,
And number two is being forgettable because it's
Right.
basically boring, just not as noticeably boring. And so yeah, it is just
very generic. It's
Yeah.
very generic.
I mean, that movie was just I'm like, why do they do this? Why? So
Oh, to The Exorcist? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I didn't hate it like I thought like some people did, but I didn't
That's-
have any reason.
that's
to
even
like it.
worse,
That's
dude.
not the one with the twins, is it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Well,
It's
not
not
twins,
twins,
the two
but
best
it's
friends.
the two little
Yeah.
like it's a little white girl and a little black girl and like
Yeah, the two
Yeah.
best friends.
Georgia
See,
or
I haven't
something like that.
watched that
Dude,
one yet.
don't.
No, watch it. But seriously, like watch it. You know, draw your own opinion. Because I know people that watched it that enjoyed it, and if you enjoyed that movie, that's fucking awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But for me, The Exorcist Believer was just incredibly average. It had no real reason to exist.
I watched The Last Stop in Yuma County, which was with Richard Brake and like very much like Barbara Gordon's in it too, but like it's very much like this like these guys rob a bank and then like get stuck at this gas station in the middle of nowhere in Arizona. And very much like I don't know, it's very like low budget indie kind of thing. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't great. Let's see what else I watched. I tried to watch
But you
Fall
said
Guy.
Barbara Gordon, didn't you?
Barbara, what's her name?
Barbara Crampton. Yeah, I
Crampton,
was like,
yeah.
who the fuck's Barbara Gordon? It's
Sorry,
like, isn't
that-
Commissioner Gordon's daughter?
Yeah, that's the chick. That's the chick from the Batman movies.
Woman's
Yeah,
in it.
yeah. Not even Batgirl woman. She was like Night Watch or whatever. I watched that movie.
Girl, bro.
Wasn't she? No, she was Night Watch, wasn't she? Was the
No,
one who
she
got
was-
shot.
Well,
She
she was
got
Night Watch after she was Batgirl.
Oh, okay, I don't know fucking all these things. So I watched that movie, and then what I watched, like I said, I watched Boy Kills World, and then Argyle, which was, dude. What the fuck happened to Bryce Dallas like Howard or whatever her fucking name is? That girl got like, she put on some. She used to be very, very skinny. She's not very, very skinny anymore. She's still pretty. Don't get me wrong, but it's just
Gorgeous.
like, did you see her in fucking Argyle? She's not.
Yeah,
like,
she's a little thick, but I think she looks really good.
She's just.
Really
I'm just.
pretty.
I'm not saying like so. I said she's still pretty. I'm just like.
Yeah.
You just like it takes a second that you go, what? She doesn't even look like the same lady as she used to look like. So that was an interesting thing. So that movie was Argyle was weird as fuck, dude. Matthew Vaughn is a really creative guy, but like you put him into a PG-13 movie like that, and it's very like weird. It's very like. It's like every time you get this sequence that like people are killing each other and there's like an R&B song. It's very odd. Like I didn't expect it. It was entertaining though. Also, Henry Cavill has maybe the worst haircut in the world outside of like Courtney Hawkes in Scream 3 in that movie. And it's that weird like he's got that widow's peak that gets like goes up 2 inches and spike, and he looks like he should be hanging out on King of the Hill or some shit like that. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just like it's bad, man. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is this fucking haircut? Holy shit! But I will say Sam Rockwell is great as always because Sam Rockwell's fucking
Sam
fantastic,
Rockwell's great in everything he does.
dude. That movie, like I think Moon was the first movie that I'm like, this motherfucker is just wonderful. If you've never seen Moon is fucking Moon is awesome. Moon is great. So. Okay, let us dive in to Infested, which is a
Sorry.
French horror movie from 2023.
Mhm.
And Ken, you want to read the synopsis of Infested?
I would be honored. Residents of a rundown French apartment building battle against an army of deadly, rapidly reproducing spiders.
Spitters.
So after I watched this, I was like, this
Spiders.
movie is very like arachnophobia without the comedy. It's very much like, it feels like a modern take of arachnophobia, and I thought it was
Had I
pretty
seen this instead of arachnophobia, I would be scared. Like, honestly, I'm not super scared of spiders. I used to be a little bit. This movie made me hate spiders. Like, I definitely was like, I don't want to fuck with spiders ever again. And like the shape of the spider, like the just the appearance definitely gave me, I don't know if you guys have cave crickets where you live.
Mm-mm.
And I don't think that's actually what they're called, but sorry for my camera shaking, weasels bouncing around everything.
I see I see Weasel doing Weasel things.
They're like they look like spiders, but they move like crickets and they don't have the same number of legs and everything, and it's very weird. But they're huge, and these reminded me of those, except these spiders had like the weird flat back type of things.
Yeah.
But seeing those and then seeing the size that they got, that was crazy. But also, I grew up in Florida, so well, I lived there till I was 9. In Florida, you don't step on spiders, you don't smash spiders, because they not always, but a lot of times when you do, babies will spawn off of them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We learned that, at least I grew up with that. I could be wrong. Let us know. Tweet at us if you have a different experience. But I grew up where we had a spider on the wall. We slap it, baby spiders would run everywhere. So you just didn't do that. So when they stepped on that spider, I knew it was coming without even having seen a preview, and was panicking and was like, nope, absolutely not. Nope. No, ma'am. Nope. But it did a great job of creating dread. There were a couple moments where it felt like it lingered in places that it didn't necessarily need to.
Yeah.
And the end, I got a little bit lost, which I'll talk to you guys about, to try to like figure out something. I may have looked down at some point and missed some text, but overall, great movie for atmospheric horror. For even if you have any type of fear of spiders and you can't handle it, do not watch this.
Oh yeah.
If you have a little bit of a fear, you like the thrill, definitely watch this. If you're not afraid of spiders, watch this. You might change your mind.
you.
Yeah, it is very much like, and there's like a fucking series of spider horror movies coming out, because there's another one
Yeah,
called
Sting.
Sting. Yeah, is also out. I need to check that one out, but it's like, damn man, the spiders are like very much. Am I imagining things that someone was talking about remaking Arachnophobia? I don't know if that was like.
I feel like I saw that the other day, honestly.
Yeah, I think that they are in the talks to remake that.
Because
Yeah.
Hollywood,
Memory serves me correctly.
all they could do right now is remake everything.
That is
because
not true. You just watched Argyle.
I mean, and how did that do, Brian? How did that do?
Did you
Yeah.
like it?
I liked it. I'm not saying.
Okay, it sounds like it did great then.
No, I'm talking about financially, Brian.
Oh no, movies aren't making money at all, whether they
Yeah.
be remakes or not.
No,
Like,
that's not
they
true.
really
Fucking
aren't.
Kong versus Godzilla made like $500 bajillion.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, as overall though, like Mad Max, the new Mad Max movie, which is Furiosa, it didn't do super great. Made like $30 million.
How did
Kingdom
the,
of the Planet of the Apes is kind of doing well.
how did the Roadhouse movie do?
That was
that
in
one-
theaters.
Yeah, it went straight to Prime. That was a
Oh,
Prime
okay,
movie.
okay.
And the Jake
Never
Gyllenhaal or Jill like and the director are very mad because they were promised a fucking theatrical release, and
They
then they
were, yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't get it. So
yeah.
I thought
They-
that they're making a sequel though, and I don't know if that's like a oops our bad kind of thing, but they're making a sequel.
They
and-
need to make a sequel because I
Yeah.
genuinely enjoyed the Roadhouse remake.
I need
That
to
was
watch
super
it. I've
fun.
heard
It's
great
super
things
fun.
about it.
It
I think it's
is.
super fun. It's a love letter to 80s action horror or 80s action movies.
It's
And
it's uniquely shot. It's like the action
Yeah.
sequences are shot really, really weird in a
Yeah.
good way. Oh, I was gonna say, I also over the weekend was watching the last season of Big Mouth. I don't know if you guys, and I'm just like, that show is just like, there was an
Has
episode
it
that was,
gotten better?
I don't know, man. There was an episode that I just had to like stick my fingers in my ear and start going blah 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 because it was making me feel so fucking awkward. Where the one Andrew character played by the comedian, stand-up comedian, what's his name? I can't. What the fuck is it? The guy who went to rehab. I can't even think of his fucking name. But like, he has a hot girl that's like a year younger than him move across the street from him, and who wants to bang him, and he like instead like ruins it by trying to fuck the mother. And just like the show is just. It's
I'll
those
tell you
things.
what show I wish that they would do some more of is F is for Family. I love that show.
That's Bill Burr, right? Dude,
Yes.
I watched the part
Oh.
of the first episode and I'm like, I can't do this. This show is too fucking awkward and I can't fucking do it.
It's
I'm like,
so good.
I was like, I can't,
So good.
and I cannot. And I did also. Speaking of this, and we're going on what to watch on Netflix. I rewatched How to Build a Sex Room because that show is
I
amazing.
need to watch that.
You
I only
watch
watched a
it!
couple episodes
Go, it's
because
so
you
good.
recommended it and it was so good. And then I never picked it back up and I don't know why.
Yeah, it is, dude. That show like is just like you're like so many ideas. Brian's like, what are you fucking talking about?
I love how we so comfortably and happily went right back to what we were talking about before.
I
We
mean,
were talking about the
this
movie.
this is ADHD in like incarnate. It is
Welcome to ADHD, the
Yeah.
podcast.
ADHD, the
Kyle's,
podcast.
yeah.
Sponsored by Chicken.
Chicken, squirrel.
Speaking
No.
of chicken, did you know that Colonel Sanders was not actually a colonel and he did shoot a man with one of his friends over a chicken spot location? And did you know that John Wayne Gacy's father-in-law owned a whole bunch of KFCs and he was put in charge of them even though he sucked at it, and he made a boys club underneath one of them that was like a special club that technically wasn't just for boys, but girls were not encouraged to attend, and that's where all the teenagers would go.
And how did John Wayne Gacy
It's
end
in
up
the
dressing
game.
up like a clown and killing people? Is the next question.
He liked to make people smile. And he did dress up in his clown costume for one of the kills.
Dude, I don't
At
know
least
how
one.
I don't know how we're getting into this, but I also saw a YouTube thing or something that was about like a interview with Jeffrey Dahmer after like he like was in prison, and how he was saying he deserved to die, and how I'm just like Jiminy Cricket.
Well, that's just like there's a lot of serial killers that'll tell you like they belong in prison. They do not need to be let out. Do not let them out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brian deserves to be in prison. I mean, no.
I do.
Dude, so this movie, like, though, seriously, it's just like one of those things where it's like, it takes a completely kind of like reasonable, like, thought process idea of this guy bringing a spider home, and then it going wrong, and in a way that, like, I mean,
Yeah.
wrong in a way that's not even
Mistakes
describable.
were made.
I want to say that I hate his sister. His sister is the worst character in this whole movie, and she is the fucking, like, she should have been eaten by a spider, and the fact that she didn't get eaten by the spider was the biggest, like, crime in this whole film, because this bitch keeps turning off his, like, heating lamps and shit, and, like,
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to kill all his animals. And it's, like, the first time you're like, okay, whatever, she's just trying to save power. Then she does it again, and you're like,
Yeah.
you fucking bitch. You fucking bitch. Why are you doing this? And,
It
yeah.
was funny too that he had the scorpions because my cousin Link had a bunch of different like weird animals. I mean, and Katie, right? Katie
Yep.
has a bunch of stuff. But Link had these scorpions that would like glow under black lights and like all
Yeah.
this other shit. And like that was one of their big things was like you can't turn the power off. But they also had like iguanas and stuff growing up and
Yeah.
snakes and shit.
Well, so she got Zeke a scorpion, and he was named Oz, like from like whatever for like and I think their power went out and it killed his like emperor
Oh,
scorpion. Yeah,
no.
like it.
Bummer.
They don't last very long. But Katie had these other scorpions that were like poisonous, and like she woke up one day and they had like 80 babies, and she had to deal with that. And you're like,
I think in scorpions, is it not correct that the younger they are, the more poisonous they are?
I
don't know.
think so. I was stung by one in Florida. We had, because again, Florida, right? We had there was a little tiny one that was on our floor, because like I see them even in Tennessee, we get them every once in a while. But in Florida, we got them a lot. And I was laying on the floor and one had like clamped onto me and stung me. But thankfully, it didn't do a lot. And like my mom called our pediatrician immediately and he was like, give her Benadryl, keep an eye on it. And I was fine.
Scorpions are the
Damn.
things that, like, the bigger they are, the less dangerous they are. So the smaller they are, you don't want to fuck with them.
You almost have a superhero origin, Ken.
I could.
Or
Too bad I
supervillain
didn't grow a
origin.
tail and
That's-
like.
I mean, that's because you've never seen Kin without pants on. Her vagina looks like a scorpion mouth.
That's true. That's true.
It chews on things, and he's just like, "What the fuck is happening?" No, yeah, his sister is the worst. But like, this dude is just, it's funny, man. It's like this thing, like, I don't know if I'm like projecting like American, like this like whole movie takes place in this like apartment complex that's kind of ghetto, and you're like, you have this main character Caleb who's like kind of an ass but also a good kid at the same time, because he's sitting there like he's yelling at the jackasses that live in the apartment complex for doing stupid shit and harassing the little Asian lady, and then he's still doing something like bringing in a spider that gets he gets like everyone killed. This motherfucker gets like every single person who gets killed in this movie is this guy's fault, and you're just like, also I want to know, because he paid like 20 fucking like euros for this
50
spider.
euro. Well, yeah, because
For the jewelry and whatever. But the Arab dudes in Dubai who are like going out to look for these things at the very beginning of the film, and then like the one dude just like gets bit, and they're like, okay, we're gonna chop him up, and they're just like, they don't even care. They're just like capturing more spiders. What are they selling these things worth that they're like, okay, we're willing to do this for something that just like could kill us, and then some motherfucker with a hat, like Arab fucking Jason Voorhees, is gonna chop my head off, and you're just like, what the fuck, man?
We talked about this before the podcast, but there is whenever the guy in the movie buys this spider from it's like a pawn shop, but the guy like has like special items in the back.
It's not even a pawn shop. It's like
and stuff.
It's like a gas station or a convenience store or something like that.
That's right, because he gets his shoes and stuff shipped there. But he's talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, of course I have this. Like, AliExpress was named after me." And I lost my shit. I started laughing so hard. I was like, "This is perfect. It's so good."
Yeah, the you could see, well, it's that opening scene where you get that Caleb has that charisma, like he's like kind of like ghetto, but like giving it, like the guy's all like hustling, like he's trying to sell shit and then sell shoes and do all this shit, but he's like trying to work his ass off, and you're just like, oh, I like this dude.
And he's trying to be like straight. Dude, when the guy was like, oh, he sold him heroin, I saw him give him heroin. He probably overdosed from heroin. I wanted to punch him.
Right?
In the mouth.
That guy was a prick.
Like,
yeah,
that kid was trying so hard, and like,
well, he does.
Why?
I mean, he gets everyone killed, but like he doesn't do it on purpose. It's not like,
true.
Of course
True.
not.
yeah.
He's like Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah, dude, worst character in all the Friday the 13th movies. Like he kills human Jason, and then like goes to a gay porno conversion. He goes to a gay porno conversion camp, and like almost gets killed by the weird chocolate eating fat dude's dad, and then he turns into Jason, and then they disregard it. Like, okay. Let's compare Friday the 13th Part 5 to Halloween Part 4, where it's basically the same film, but just like with less porno directing in it, because the guy who directed Friday the 13th Part 5 was a porno director. But
yes, he was.
Yeah. And you go, oh, that's why there's more tits than violence in this movie. And yes.
There apparently the scene in Friday 13th Part 5, apparently Friday the 13th franchise is hijacking this episode. But the scene where they're humping in the woods, Deborah Voorhees, I can't remember her character's name. The guy was like, the director was like literally directing it like a porn scene. Like he's like fuck her harder, you know, like he was like yelling at him.
That's amazing.
Real the bitch, you know.
It's such a weird movie, man. I like
Yeah.
Friday 5, but it is a weird that fucking it's weird when like my earliest memories of the Friday 13th, like when I was a kid, like turning it on like TBS or something, was him like getting thrown out off the barn and then like his like mask tearing open, and you're just like, as a kid, I'm like, what the fuck was that? I don't understand what was happening because I hadn't seen the rest of the movie. Like, I just saw the end of it, and I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. And yeah, that movie is weird. But like Caleb, like you're like, this guy is cool. Besides him being, and then you feel bad when he's like midway through and he's like smacking himself in the face. I'm so fucking stupid. This is all my fault. And you're just like. Yeah, I told Brian about this, but I got a text from Ken, and she started watching it. She's like, all the French yelling at each other is making me so anxious. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I mean, it's very much like it. It's not like Germans yelling at each other, where then you expect like genocide, but like.
Well, and for the record, the reason for that is I tried to learn French, or I took French in college. I tried to relearn French later on in life via Duolingo, and I did okay with it, but not great. But so like every single time that they started arguing like that, I was like, okay, I want to actually try to understand what they're saying, which I can't. But then, there's multiple people screaming at each other. And I was like, it just got to be too much. Kind of like Weasel biting me right now for no reason.
It's one of those things where the movie is very like all the characters talk very fast. And so you're like very often like just reading subtitles and not getting to watch the screen as much. And like this was the second time I've watched this, and so it was easier to hang out. And I'm like, I really kind of like appreciated the spider effects in this movie the second time more because they're generally pretty
good.
They're
great. I wish
really
I could
good,
find the budget for this movie. I really do,
there's
because
like not a
it's
Wikipedia page or anything.
yeah.
I
I flipped around. I've tried a bunch of places. I can't find it. And
Well,
it makes
the
me
movie-
sad because again, like
it wasn't called Infested in French. Like they
Vermines.
changed the title. Did you know that? The title was
Vermines.
not.
Oh, I found it.
Yeah.
oh, you did?
I found the Wikipedia page. Let me translate this whole fucking thing. Oh my god.
French horror, man, is wonderful. Like I think France makes some of the best horror in the world. I mean, they might make better horror than America if we're being honest. Like overall, I mean, fucking chucking things in like Martyrs and Inside and all the shit. That movie's fucking wild.
Let's see here. We've got. I found there's the synopsis that was already read. I can't. There's no budget on here either.
Yeah,
not really.
The CG, man. Like I was like rewatching it. The only time in this whole film that the spider's CG looked bad was that the spider that stops the car at the very end, where like once they turn the car lights off and it skitters away, it's kind of noticeable how CG the spider is, but like. It's actually kind of impressive as a whole, like how good the spiders look in this film, because I think all the spiders are CG. I don't know if they had any real spiders in it, but
I felt like they looked very realistic. I really liked the progression as well throughout, as the spiders like continued to grow in size. I thought that was
I found
great.
the budget.
Oh, you did? Nice.
5 million euros.
Wow.
I don't know what that translates
and they only brought in, at least according to, where did I see it? Maybe it was on database.
Aren't euros worth more than $1? So it's like $7 or $8
it's about
million.
$5.4 million.
Yeah, and according to the movie, their revenue was only 2.1 million.
Okay.
Damn, I wonder. So I do
That's
wonder
in dollars, but
I do.
Wasn't this is
a Shudder film, right?
I mean, this was a festival film, though, correct?
I think so.
I mean, I know Shudder's putting it out here, so I don't know how
putting it out.
Yeah,
I don't really know that this necessarily even got like a massive release. It was released in Italy and France only. I guess it finally got a national release December 27th of last year,
Yeah.
but I don't know if this was ever really fully intended to even be like a big theater movie type thing.
I mean, I don't
Maybe it
know
was. I
why.
don't know.
I don't know, man. Like you could have dubbed this movie in like for like
This would have,
not.
yeah, because they do that every once. Like they did that for Brotherhood of the Wolf years ago, and that movie did really well in America.
That movie was weird, man.
I
It was
love that
very.
movie.
It's like a kung fu werewolf horror film with like.
Yeah, that movie, I think that movie's rad. I love it.
Yeah, it's a very odd movie, but another French movie that's very like, especially like the aughts of the 2000s are just like the French movies are just wild, man. You get like things like I said about like you're talking about Martyrs and Inside and all these things like High Tension or Switchblade Romance or the fuck it was called originally in France, and you're just like they were just making some wild shit, and it's like I don't know, man. Like we've talked about a couple, like 3 or 4 French movies before this. I'm just like, even stuff like newer stuff like Revenge. Revenge is fucking fantastic. But man, I don't know, man. Like maybe America's not the only place that movies are doing really strangely right now. It is. I don't know. After like how good 2022 was, it's like the world is like this strange. Let's be honest.
Maybe the
like,
movies ain't that good. I
what?
don't know. Maybe the movies movies these days just ain't that good.
I mean, maybe, but like even good things aren't doing great. Like
Do you
I don't.
think partially why we personally might feel like movies aren't that good just because we grew up in an era where movies were just better?
I think that could very well be it. Yeah.
I don't even think those movies are better because I don't think that like I think there are a lot of movies that are less original nowadays, and so you get this thing where people aren't going to see them. But like movies, like I was talking about, fucking like Boy Kills World, like super original movie that like does meet up a lot of combinations, but doesn't get like was in theaters for like 2 weeks basically, and shit like that doesn't get advertising, and then you're just like you get the only things that get truly like I don't know. This year is weird because it's like it's the first year since like 2008 that we've had one Marvel movie, or I guess 2020 like kicked out a lot of that shit because of like COVID, and like it's like Marvel has just like completely taken over the cinema, and now it's like all these remakes, and I don't know, man. It's weird, but like I think there's a lot of things like inflation is a fucking bitch and killing people, and so they don't have as much free money to go spend on movies and shit like that, and I don't know, man. It's wild. Because I still think there are a lot of really high quality movies. I mean, we go over that list of like horror movies that have come out this year. It's not like it's been a bad year for movies. Immaculate's fucking great. Stuff that like should be getting more fucking like I mean, Abigail made no fucking money. It's just like shit that deserves to have made money hasn't made money, and it's just like so we've had a couple giant blockbusters make some money this year, but like I don't know, man.
I think like I don't know what the problem is, and I also don't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
I mean, France also had a weird year last year because France had all those weird like protests and shit, like shutting down the country a lot of last year. So I wonder if that had any effect on that kind of stuff either. I don't know. Like a lot of France shut down last year because of fucking protests. So I don't know. Who fucking knows, man? And then like I mean, obviously the whole Ukraine thing and now like the Palestinian thing has just been thrown a weird air over a lot of this shit. So who fucking knows? I think that like the only thing that like especially watching this movie the second time that I'm just like a little bit like I don't know, like I think that the spider escalation rates in this film seem way faster than they could be in real life. But
yeah,
I
think
though.
I'm here for it.
I think like it's not something I even noticed the first time. Like this is like a rewatch second time kind of thing, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I still think that this movie has a lot of really, really, really well crafted set pieces. I think the bathroom scene is fucking fantastic. I think the hallway scene is fucking fantastic.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, that I think those two are really good. I think I think that the ending in the parking garage might be a little over the top with the cops and everything like that. Like, because as I was rewatching that this last night, I'm like, how many cops are in there? Because I swear the entire like 5-minute scene, there were cops getting murdered by the spiders the entire time. And you're like, I'm like,
It did seem like a lot of cops died, and they were just keep
Yeah.
getting replaced by new cops.
yeah, it was very much like, dude, because you think about it, like that first dude who kind of got murdered by the spider that was in the shoe, like that was in the apartment complex. That motherfucker made it back to his apartment, and then like he's like his eyes are gooing and just like just like he's like the really only the one that like died where you saw it, like right, like the real after effects of it. And you're just like,
Pretty much.
yeah.
This movie's rad, I think.
Yeah, dude, I felt so bad for the little Asian lady. She's just sitting there trying to clean the lobby, and the spiders just. I don't know why she stuck her head up there after trying to murder kill all those spiders, but she's
Yeah,
like,
I wondered that too.
would you do that? No. Like there were so
Absolutely
many,
not.
there were so many
Negative.
spiders, and she like sticks her. And did you guys notice this? She sticks them both in the same direction. I don't know about you. I would have stuck one in one direction and one in the other, and just been like, we're killing spiders everywhere, not in just one direction.
Mm-hmm.
You've also seen these movies before, though.
I mean,
So you
it's
know how
true.
this shit goes
I mean,
down.
spiders and wild varmints and whatnot. But Kim, did you find any cool like facts about this film while you were doing you're looking into it?
Honestly, come back to that because I did not.
You did not.
that's fair.
Okay. Man, I want to say like I wonder like. There's a side note, but it's like kind of irrelevant to the movie plot or anything. This apartment complex is cool, like the big circle, like it's
Yeah.
like
Pretty neat
big-
looking building.
yeah, it's like it all takes or most of it takes place on the second floor, but like, and the puppy looks like your puppy, Brian.
Dude, I thought the same. I was just like, yeah, that when I saw him, I was like, oh. And I'm like, that dog's gonna die, and I'm gonna be mad, and I was.
Yeah.
I
At
was
least they
mad.
don't. At least they don't show it getting
I'm
killed.
I'm glad they just didn't show it.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
then they-
he did. That dog looked exactly like Roby.
I don't know. It's like it's very like gray, pretty pitty with like like cut
I
ears.
wasn't expecting the character development that we got in this movie. I actually cared about almost all of these characters.
Yeah.
I
Well,
actually
dude,
really liked them.
it's that-
It was a lot deeper than I thought that was gonna end up going.
Well, it's that thing, and
So-
they set that like they give you a lot of the backstory between Jordy and Caleb after Jordy dies, like because you get that,
yeah.
and you're like, oh
Yeah,
man,
it makes the weight of his death feel a lot heavier afterwards.
Well, you're sitting there, you like these two like stop. It, I mean, I don't know. I think most people had some weird friendships in their childhood that ended for weird reasons, and they kind of like had that show up, and you're like, oh man, because you're like these kids, like Caleb gets bitten by the iguana, and then he thinks that Jordy like fucking ratted him out, and then fucking Caleb's mother dies, and he doesn't like come see him, and he's just like, oh, those two kids were just fucking stubborn as shit, and then like they obviously meant a lot to each other because he had that postcard still on his fucking thing where they were gonna start their like habitat for like reptiles or
They
whatever.
wanted
He's
to start like a reptile
Zoo.
place for the kids.
for the kids. How do I reach these kids? Yeah, it's but like, and you're like, why? And then you like figure it out, and you're like, fuck, man. So he had his best friend, and man, the other thing with that. The fucking dumbass MMA fighter, like in the end scene, is like, "Tell him I did something cool," and then he just fucking tackles a cop through the like. It's just like, dude, why? There are a lot of dumbasses in this film, and I think there's like, I don't know, like the moron who's like, I'm gonna light a joint up, and in the middle of this like old lady's like leaving retirement party. Also. That scene where they fucking just show the spider coming out of that lady's mouth in her chair, you're just like,
that whole sequence was really cool when they were kind of panning to all of the all of the
Yeah.
mayhem that we weren't
Yeah.
seeing. That was a whole the whole sequence was really cool.
Yeah,
When
well,
they
I
were
mean,
showing all the shit that was going down.
the old dude with all the spiders under glasses, the one dude
Yeah.
in the fucking like the dude like with his buddy in a stairwell, just like fucking lighting a
Yeah, he
joint up.
was. Well, I think he had like a vapor or
Yeah,
something. Yeah,
and he's just like,
he was just like, "Fuck it."
yeah,
He
you're
just
just
accepted it. And then there was
damn, man.
the couple that were holding each other, and then there was a spider dangling right next to him, and they
Yeah.
just were like, "Whatever." Yeah, it was pretty grim.
Yeah, that's
'Cause
some heavy shit, man.
Yeah.
It's like it was almost like all these people were like, this fucking world sucks because they live in this like kind of poverty world, right? Like it's like these
Mhm.
low income houses or whatever, and then they're like, yeah, fuck it, we can't do anything. You're just like, damn, son, damn, that's fucking sad. And it's just like, man,
Yeah, the movie has a little bit of emotional weight to it
Yeah.
that I didn't really anticipate.
yeah.
But it was really, I appreciated it.
I mean, if you were in America, you would have gotten way more stereotypical characters. Like I said, like it was like
Yeah.
it would have been like had that character growth that you were mentioning and whatnot. And you're like, damn,
No, if this was American, this would have just been a straight up dumb spider
Arachnophobia
movie.
remake. Yeah,
I don't know. Not necessarily though. I mean, because we have the movies that are of this cut from the same cloth that do pretty good job, like Crawl did
yeah,
with the alligators or crocodiles. That was a surprising. That was surprisingly emotional with good characters.
Yeah.
In that. It's been a while since I've watched Itsy Bitsy, but I do own it.
I've never seen
I
that.
don't think I've ever watched it.
Oh, you never seen that?
I don't think so.
It's not as good as this, but it's honestly it's not bad. It's actually it's fairly decent.
Yeah,
The
Well, dude, I
spider
mean-
in that looks really cool.
$5 million for a fucking American movie is like nothing, and it's just like I
Yeah.
see like. I know that last year Godzilla -1 came out and they only spent like 10 million on it, but like
Yeah,
they also gave the CG people worked on that movie for like 2 or 3 years, so it's like the thing that like would never happen in America where like they're given that much time to work on the like CG for it, like so it's like
yeah, man. EA won't even let BioWare finish video games before they release them. Poor Anthem didn't stand a chance.
dude, I've been playing on my stream Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and that game came out last year, jank as fuck. That was like Ken made out with that fucking game. She got a trip to go hang out in the Star Wars land in California, and then
Yeah,
she
I
got the
went
game.
to the party, the launch party and stuff, and
Oh,
they
very
they
cool.
let us go to Disney, and we did a whole bunch of stuff there.
But that game
Very cool.
launched jank as fuck, and then like playing it now, there's still like you see like you're like, oh man, they you could tell that they had to rush a lot of this shit, and they never got to fix a lot of things. You're just like, the video game industry is in a world of hurt, just kind of like the fucking movie industry is, and it's because I think like this shit was bad before, but COVID like really fucked up expectations for film and video games because of that thing where like people were spending way more time indoors and watching movies and doing all this shit now, and you're just like, god damn, man, it's just capitalism is gone to the point where it's never enough. It's never enough. Like there's greed is to the point where it's never good enough, and we're getting to the point where people like can't afford to do artistic stuff because they have to pay their insane rent or do whatever they need to do, and you're just like, fuck, man. I don't know. It's sad when these like, and I bet you Shudder gave this movie enough money that like to distribute it here that like it probably made up for whatever it didn't. Because I'm not saying Shudder gave him millions of dollars, but like probably enough that it was kind of worth it. But like,
I should hope so.
yeah, I don't know. Like,
I like to know how that works out. You know,
I assume that they give him a certain amount, and then they probably give him a certain amount for every play. Like not a whole lot, but they probably give him a certain amount for
That'd
every
be
play.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like Spotify or whatever.
Yeah.
Speaking of Spotify, there's an artist that I watch on TikTok who was talking the other day about one of his songs got picked up by Spotify Radio. So it was being played regularly. It was getting a lot of clicks. And then Spotify hit him with bot plays because he was getting too many clicks too quickly. And then he got blocked by his publisher and lost his contract and is barred from producing and uploading music there now.
Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, I was
That's
watching.
awful.
I was watching a video on YouTube the other day about like new music on Spotify, and like 2 years ago they were saying that 60,000 songs a day get added to Spotify, and so it's like 20 million songs a year or something like that is like the like end goal of all that, and you're just like, damn
Good
man,
God.
you can't like being good isn't enough anymore. You have to be like good and lucky, you know? Like it's just like fucking bonkers,
Yeah.
and it's just like
I don't know. I don't have the details of how many plays any of my music has gotten in the past, but I do know that over my 30 years of doing music, in those 30 years, I've received two royalty checks, and both of them were for $11.
Oof.
Ballin'.
So
That's
I've made $22. That wasn't even only mine. I've split $22 with 10 dudes.
Jeez.
man, that's
Because
That's-
you only get like a fraction of a cent per play.
Yeah. well, dude,
you know?
I think about like you think about like big bands and how much they actually make, and it's like you have these artists that are making like probably like a lot of money, but like contextually, it's like, does Taylor Swift give a fuck about the money she makes off of Spotify? Probably not.
Well,
No, 'cause
years ago, years and years pre-COVID, I was at a used concert, and Bert, right?
Yeah,
It's
Bert. Yeah.
He was like, just don't even bother with Spotify. It's a piece of shit. We make 0.05 or 0.005 cents per song or something. He's like, just don't even bother with it. And then, during COVID, all of a sudden they're like, stream our stuff on Spotify. You're like,
Bert, I vomit on stage continuously, Kraken or whatever the fuck his last
I
name
got
is.
to see him while he was completely sober and on his like super artsy kick, which was just
I saw him,
wild.
dude. I saw him on at one of the festivals years and years ago, and I was like, you're still good, but man, it's they're also one of those weird bands that like kind of broke off from record labels at all, like after like in the mid 2010s and like were
Yeah.
like putting their own shit out. That's probably why he did that, and it was like, yeah, stream our shit, because then he's not like switching shit with like studios and shit. You have to wonder, because like this film, like, you know what else kind of gave me the vibe of, and I've never actually seen the original, but like Wreck and like because they locked those people in that building in Wreck, which is weird because Wreck is a like the Spanish original is a like demon possession movie, like hanging out as a zombie movie, right? And then the American version, they just made a zombie version.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that.
But
I vaguely remember it.
But like the whole like the cops, containing
Yeah.
the situation in the building, like this was, and you're just like, dude, were those like? I was trying to figure out, were those like grenade launchers, or were they like firing bean bags at them because they like Caleb got in trouble for shooting the one cop with it. I was like, are they like firing?
I was cheering at for him. I was like, shoot the fucking. Shoot the fucking
Bang! Fuck the police!
Yeah, the police.
Fuck the police, dude.
I fucking hate cops,
dude. It's that thing where like you go to the point where, are all cops bad? Probably not. Are most of cops bad? Yep. Yeah. They're
I
all
don't
pretty.
like cops. My nephew's a cop. I love him, but I hate. I love my nephew to death, but I hate cops.
Yeah.
I tell him that all the time. I'm like, "Fuck you, cop."
Fuck you, pig! Fuck you, pig! Here's some donuts and a bacon and some bacon. You fucking pig!
Cops.
I just know. I don't know. Like,
No.
just if you're
I know
a cop,
too many cops that were bullied in school and now they have a badge and they.
dude. This is my thing, and I don't know if people always. I don't think people always agree with me, but I'm like, yeah, people are like high school bullies are like, man, I really love bullying people, and like now that high school's over, I'm like, how am I going to continue to be able to bully people for the rest of my life?
I can tell you how. They go into volunteering to coach sports and then bully the
yell at
fuck
kids.
out of the parents.
Well, they could do that, or they could become police officers and then be able to legally shoot people. So I mean, it's
yeah.
you're like one of those things where like it's funny though because that thing was like that the whole like this movie feels very anti-cop also like along with everything else because you're like, oh, they're saying these cops fucking suck. Oh, okay, no, well, you kind of like I don't know about you guys. I kind of just sometimes forget that like cops are a problem in other places besides America. Like, I mean, our cop problem's pretty, like defined, but like, man, you just sit there and go, fucking people hate the cops all around the world. I feel like, man, that like being bitten by a spider though in this movie was like a pretty horrible fate. Like,
oh God, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's why Mathis was so happy to just sacrifice himself. He's like, you know what I mean, like because he knew it was over for him.
Yeah, but all he did was like run him like a cop into that hallway. Like he died that slow, painful death afterwards, man. Like it's like. Also, when they escaped and they were like apparently the only ones who escaped, how is there like some of those spiders had to fucking gotten out of that fucking building? Like I don't know.
I assume that after they got out of the garage, they shut the door.
But even then, there were
one
like
of those things where you're like, how do we know that they contained this,
dude? Brian, like right before we started the podcast, was finishing up the movie, and one of the most intense scenes in this whole fucking film is when they decide that throwing Molotov cocktails down the hallway is a good idea, and you're like, okay, let's burn the fucking building down, and then they're like, they stand there, and then the guy's like, Caleb's like, he screams whatever it is in French, but he's like, run, and you're like, what are you idiots doing? Because the spider's just like,
of course they're going to go away from the source of the heat.
Yeah. And well, it's very much, these spiders in this are very much like you shine light on them and they stop. Brian was laughing at the cranking.
The cranking of because he's like
flashlight.
constantly, like poor Matt is like, he's like constantly spinning that fucking thing and turning.
Yeah. Dude, and I will say, I think my favorite scene in this entire film, we were talking about the shitty guy who accused Caleb of selling drugs. When he goes, he like starts stabbing the shoebox with all the babies in it, and they just
God,
swarm him, and you're like, get the fucker, get him,
yeah,
get him.
Glorious.
Yeah.
I wanted to see his death. I hated that guy.
Yeah,
I wanted to see him die.
I
was very bummed.
He was such a cocksucker because he's like,
he was a massive fucking dick bag.
And you have to go, this guy's probably racist because he's like blaming the black kids of selling drugs and shit like that.
Oh, that was something I was going to bring up. They were looking for, when the writer and director was looking for ideas around discrimination faced by black and Arab looking people in France, it led him to spiders, which are rarely welcome in homes. Whenever they're spotted, and everyone in the story, people and spiders, are treated like vermin by society.
Oh, so was the director black or Arab or anything like that?
Let me look. His name is Sebastian Vanek. I don't see a photo of him.
I'm just wondering because you said that. It made me go.
That's a very white name, Sebastian.
But it's also it's a very white
French.
Yeah, it's a very white name here, right? Not like not necessarily in France. I mean, like in America, Caleb is as white as you get, man. That's a pretty white fucking name in America, man. So it's like, yeah,
he is. I found a picture of him. Oh, he looks like Travis Kelce.
Oh, so he's just a white dude. Okay.
Yeah, dude. He looks exactly like Travis Kelce. Jesus Christ.
Dude, I laughed when his sister is like cleaning out or remodeling their bathroom and listening to like European metal. Like I'm just like this lady she's just jamming out to this shit, man. Oh man, she's having a good old time. Oh, speaking of jamming out, have you listened to the Bring Me the Horizon album? Because it's fucking.
I have not.
It came out
I haven't.
It came out on Friday. It's very, very good. I enjoy a lot of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've just been reading and then listening to graphic audio. So
I've been reading
I've been to Depeche Mode.
Nice. My buddy, Dr. Claw, MD, is he put out a book last week, the second book in a series, and I've been reading the first book and I've been enjoying that. It's called Knucklebones, and it's very cool. It's like about a guy who like touches bones and then like sees like how the person died. I'm enjoying it, so it's good. It's a cool thing. So, yeah, I've been reading that. Yeah. Is there anything else you found, Ken, that you like you want to point out that's pretty cool about this?
That was like primarily the one he did want to really show the low income housing in France that like differently.
Yeah.
Because like according to him, like low income housing in France is not as dark and dreary as people always try to make it out to be. Like people do have a sense of community and they do try to
Yeah.
take care of each other. So he wanted to like put a big emphasis on that.
Well, I mean, it's Caleb's very much like that, right? He's trying to take care of like the people. I mean, they're all trying to take care of this like people in this building. They're not like saying "fuck them, we got to get out." They were like, they have that whole scene where they're running around like checking on their friends and trying to get them out with them, right? So they did a good job with that. And I think it is a very much a like I don't know. It would have been very easy to like have everyone turn on Caleb once they figured out that the spiders are all his fault. But like, I don't know. I don't think anybody was like could have fully like explained this whole thing and gone, yeah, this is just sort like completely this kid's fault, even though it really is. But yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, I thought this was a cool movie and I enjoyed it. That's why I said we should watch it, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it also. So
yeah, I'm glad you suggested it.
Yeah, it was definitely
a cool movie.
It's very much like France.
It makes me want to go watch Sting now. I'm probably gonna watch that tonight.
We could do Sting next week. So continue the spider movies. We've been doing trends around here lately. We did like the
Have you
Radio
ever
Silence.
Seen Arachnophobia, Ken?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Sting is
you seen My Bloody Valentine, Ken?
I think I may have a long time ago. I saw that they're remaking that.
Yes, Blumhouse.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I know I'm probably in the minority because I know like most horror fans, I use air quote horror fans, because let's face it, we're part of a community and there's a lot of people that gatekeep the fuck out of shit. They're all pissed off because they don't want Blumhouse remaking My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
And all they do is pick like the one or two misfires that Blumhouse has actually had. Because really, like when you really look at it, Blumhouse track record pretty fucking good.
It's
actually.
decent. I don't, you can't say one or two because they've done a lot of things like the Love Island or the fuck that movie is called.
Fantasy Island was a misfire. But considering how many movies they make, their track record's really pretty good.
No, yeah, they have a decent record. Like I would say they hit above 50%. I'm not saying
easily.
It's not like A24's record, but they do a lot.
But now if A24 picked up My Bloody Valentine, that would be fucking real.
I would say Blumhouse is about, you give them about a 50-50 chance.
The thing here's what I like and respect about Blumhouse. Jason Blum will give the filmmaker like $10 million. Make your movie. I will leave you alone. Make whatever fucking movie you want, and then they'll put it out.
Yeah,
and I respect that because he has the balls to let these filmmakers, actually get to see their vision realized, uncompromised. What they wanted to make is what they made. It may turn out to be a turd. It may not. But at the end of the day, he still gives his filmmakers creative control of their projects.
That's
why I'll always advocate for Jason Blum. Blumhouse.
He kind of seems like a kid who was like a bully in high school, kind of like we were talking about in the fucking about cops. He seems like the dude who would be like either like giving kids swirlies or like encouraging that. He'd probably be the ones like encouraging it from the back. It seems like it does. Blumhouse always gave me the vibe of. But you're right. He does that thing where he's like, he doesn't like overdo things. Like Hollywood is so bloated at this point in time, right? Like everything is bloated. Like fucking dude, I didn't even finish it. I started watching Fall Guy, and then the copy of it I was watching was fucked up. That movie's fantastic, but they spent like $125 million on it.
Dog just fell down the
stairs. But they should have spent like 40, 50, 60 million on that movie and like
they
gone
spent
with
a lot
that.
of money on that movie.
Yeah. And I'm just like, the fucking acting's great. But it's just like these bloated budgets for everything. And it's like, horror is the only industry that, like, or like kind of genre that doesn't like completely fucking like it doesn't take $150 million to make one of their movies
Right.
anymore.
And when
just,
they
like-
do spend that kind of money, it fucking doesn't work out for them because then you get products like the Tom Cruise Mummy movie, which was a sack of shit. I mean,
yeah, dude.
But they spent like $200 million. Why the fuck would you spend $200 million on a fucking mummy movie?
Dude, I've bitched out about that movie plenty of times because that movie, the first 2/3 is bad, but I was enjoying it because it was entertaining bad.
Yeah.
That third act of that film is one of the worst third acts I've ever seen in all cinema. and it's just like you took a terrible movie and made it unwatchable. Like that movie would have been like a cult, like get stoned or have some drinks and with your friends and watch it, and then that third act and you're just like, this isn't even watchable.
I've only seen it once.
Yeah, that was all that I ever needed to watch
that's
it.
all I needed to see.
I watched that in the theater. I'm like, as soon as Russell Crowe, you could watch that movie again and then just turn it off as soon as Russell Crowe shows up, because that's like the whole Russell Crowe thing is just like where it sets it off, like setting up a universe, kind of like Batman versus Superman, but like.
But I will say this: while I do agree with you, I'll say this: at least Russell Crowe was all in.
Oh yeah, it's not his fault.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
As bad as it is, he's the best thing in that movie.
Yeah.
He just shouldn't have been in that movie.
So Ken and I, before you started hanging on there, we watched The Pope's Exorcist, and that movie is fucking, like, that movie is hokey as shit, but Russell Crowe just being as, like, committed as he is. And the only really terrible thing about that film is, like, at the very end with that CG, there's some real terrible CG at that very end of that movie, but, like, it's like just Russell Crowe fucking. He's doing another Exorcist movie this year or next year. Like, he's making it now and like doing another Exorcist type movie.
Is it a sequel to the one?
No, this is another
He's
Exorcist.
in a whole nother movie that has to do with exorcisms.
Yeah,
I love him.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
He got his Academy Award, and now he's just like, I'll do whatever the fuck I want.
He's like, I am going to go. Well, dude, it's like I love people who do that. Fucking Elijah Wood, Harry Potter, like all these guys that are just like,
Wood,
I'm going to.
Avenger
I got my money.
God, I don't know. The Toxic Avenger needs to hurry up and come out,
dude,
because I've been fucking.
So I didn't realize no one wants it. No one wants to distribute that movie. This is the problem. That movie's been done.
Why they just don't give it to Shudder then at that point.
Yeah.
Or put it on their own, because Trauma has their own fucking streaming service.
But yeah, nobody wants to distribute it. That's why that movie hasn't come out.
Sucks.
Macon Blair made that movie, and
I watched
not release a movie with Kevin Bacon and Elijah Wood and Peter
and fucking Peter Dinklage.
And Jacob Tremblay's in that movie too.
Who's Jacob Tremblay? I don't know if I know.
Do what?
Who's Jacob? I don't know the name.
He played in the fucking trying to think of the name of it. I can't think of the fucking name of it. Fuck.
So, you think of that?
Damn it.
When it comes out, I want to do a Violent Nature on this podcast because I hear it's fucking wild. But like the slasher where you follow the killer around the whole movie.
The Wonder. He played in that movie with but he also did some other stuff. Like he played in Doctor Sleep.
Okay.
Which was the little boy, the baseball player in the little boy. He played in the Predator remake.
I hate that. I hate that fucking kid, man. That kid has the worst story. Like, you feel so bad for that. That's the worst part of that fucking movie, man.
Wonder? Doctor Sleep.
The little kid who gets fucking like. That's the worst. They show that's like they show how much of the monsters those people are in that fucking section. You're just like, fuck that. Do you guys want to watch Sting then next week?
Yeah, we can watch
Sting. With that,
cool. I'm totally good with that.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys want to say? We'll wrap up.
Come check out RimWorld and backseat me, because I'm sure we'll still be playing RimWorld when this comes out. And
Rim Job.
Yeah, come Rim Job.
Come give Ken. Come give Rim.
Backdoor me, Daddy.
Come give Ken a Rim Job and.
Check out Rim Job and backdoor me.
If you're like, is a Rim Job like possible? Like. Because a rim job's just eating ass, right?
A rim job is the name of Ernest P. Worrell's Jack Russell Terrier in the Ernest Scared Stupid movie.
Dude, that movie is wild, and I actually think that we should do that on the
Actually, I think his
podcast
name
at
is
Christmas.
Rimshot.
Rim job. Oh, okay.
It's not
We'll
Rim Job. I think it's Rimshot.
Okay.
Actually.
Well, okay. So we'll continue our spider trying to do Sting next week.
Yeah. More Sting.
Okay. Ken, you
Yes.
are at continue.com and
KINTINUE. You can also go to twitch.tv/continue. Check out Twitter. Fansly's been kind of kicking back up. Yeah, so go check out all that jazz.
yes, go follow Ken everywhere. Brian has a porno called We're Gonna Make You Watch, and you should do that.
And you just watch me just slap the fuck out of my
Furiously
my balls.
masturbate.
Yeah, in fact, I don't even show you my dick. It's just my balls. Like I cover the ding dong up, and then I just slap my nuts
What
repeatedly.
what is the latest episode? Of
The
We're Gonna
last
Make You Watch?
episode we just uploaded was prom night. And then
Oh, God.
not too
I'm
long
sorry.
ago,
Why
I
did
know.
why did you do that? Why?
Because
Why?
because you have to experience that one to then experience
No, you
the
don't!
superior sequel.
No, you don't.
Rod, you need to experience a few rainy days to appreciate the sunny ones. Okay,
It can't rain all the
Life is
time,
not
Brian.
always fucking
It can't rain all the
rose
time,
unicorns and
Brian.
Fanny packs. All
It
right?
can't rain all the time, Brian. It can't rain all
Can't
the time.
rain all the time.
So, okay. Yes. And then I'm at twitch.tv/Rod_Johnson and Rod_Johnson on Twitter. And my book is The Death and Rebirth of the Human Heart, which you can buy on Amazon. So go buy a copy of that. And murderboost.com, or you could get
I need to
gear and
promote one
shit.
more thing, if that's okay.
That's okay, Brian. Go ahead.
I got back into music, and I joined a new band where I'm back to writing my own music. And stuff.
Nice.
So
Hell yeah.
it's been 10 years. I haven't been in an original band in 10 years. And the name of the band is Reset to Zero. And we already have a bunch of stuff on Spotify that I'm not actually the singer because they're already an established band. But definitely check out the Reset to Zero, all her shit on Spotify, because that's very much going to be the vibe of the music that I'm going to be writing with these guys.
Did the previous lead singer get canceled?
No, he's not. He's a sweet guy. His name's Adam, and he's a very talented songwriter, but he just wanted to go do his own thing. And
I just making a joke because metal singers are notorious for being
Escape
canceled.
I mean, he did not get Ronnie Radke.
Dude, Roddy Radke can't get canceled. That motherfucker.
No, he can't. He's uncancelable.
Dude, that motherfucker put out a song with the Nazi Alex Terrible, and then Tech Nine is being a homophobe, and like it's just like the most like toxic song of all time because of that. And it's just like, yeah. So go. So this band one more time, Ryan.
Reset to Zero.
Reset to Zero. Check it out on Spotify.
Really, really kick-ass music up there that Adam and the rest of the guys wrote. That definitely check it out because the stuff that I'm going to be writing with them is going to be very much a similar vibe.
I'm glad you're doing cool music.
Yeah,
and,
I'm excited.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
And the leads the top of that on Spotify looks like you guys are making a ransom note with women's faces and
yeah. Yeah. You found the right one.
Yeah, there you go. So, okay, everybody. Well, we will be back next week with Sting, so we're gonna watch more Spider movies. So we'll catch you guys
movies.
next week. So have a good one. Take it easy. We love you and bye.
Bye.